Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I was watching the news this morning. I'm hearing about this incident that happened at the Georgia restaurant in Georgia, Wendy's, where another black man was shot by police. And I'm not going to go over all the details and everything. I want to tell you guys, and I was going to tell you guys all the details and everything, but I'm just going to tell you, and you could draw your own conclusions. All right. This, all of a sudden, it popped into my head and reminded me of an incident that I was involved in. I was 22 at the time. This was about 22 years ago. It was in Springfield, Massachusetts. I was drinking, smoking pot and everything, and I'd gone to an Aerosmith concert. It was sold out. We were loitering outside, starting trouble, fighting, whatnot. And I was going down the steps, and a policeman was coming up the steps. And there was a group of people smoking pot up at the top. And the policeman got an idea what was going on. He goes, "Oh, what's going on up there?" And he starts, and you could tell he was a rookie just by what he was doing. And he starts banging his nightstick on the railing. Going, "Oh, let's go have a see. Let's go have a look." And he bangs the railing too hard, and that nightstick flies back and flies out of his hands. It falls down the stairs past me. He looks up the stairs where they're smoking pot and everything or whatever. He looks down at the nightstick, and he decides to go up to catch the people smoking pot or whatever. Bad mistake, spur of the moment. What do? I ran, grabbed the nightstick, stuck it in my pants, covered over with my leather jacket, and ran away. I did not know at that point how seriously a police department will take when a piece of their equipment, especially a weapon, is stolen. Police fanned out around that entire civic center for blocks, setting up checkpoints where there was 4 or 5 cops at every corner, checking everybody going through, making everybody open up, patting them down, looking for this nightstick. And it was a matter of time before I got cornered. And at the very last minute, they made me open up my leather jacket and found it. They were very angry. They threw me up against the wall, told me they were going to bust my effing head. At that moment, it went out on the radio, and at least 10 cop cars came screaming up from all around the entire blocks, all around, flying up on the sidewalk. One of these police cars, I remember specifically, pulled up on the sidewalk, almost hitting a pedestrian in a wheelchair, not even involved, but in the rambunctiousness of these police, he almost struck a person in a wheelchair. Anyway, I'm up against the wall. They're telling me I am screwed. They're going to beat me. They're going to bust my teeth out. Okay. They run me for warrants. I'm standing there chatting with, I guess he was a sergeant or something. He was higher up. There's a circle of 10 policemen all in a circle around me. He's looking through my wallet as they're waiting for the wants and warrants to come back. He finds my card from when I worked at an architect's office. I was working at an architect's office then. He started asking me about drafting, and he said he did our drafting and architecture too. And I remember it coming up that I was French Canadian, and I don't know how that came up, but it did. And we had a lot in common. The license comes back. Nothing, no wants, no warrants. So the policeman comes up into this circle. He throws my license down into the middle of this, I'd say about a 15 diameter foot circle of policemen and me, and tells me, pick it up. And I see the looks on all the policemen's faces that when I go to pick this up, I'm going to get jumped. There's no doubt. The sergeant next to me goes, whoa, wait a minute. He's a good guy. He's all right. He leans forward, reaches down, picks up my license for me, stops the other police from jumping me, hands me my license, and tells me to get out of there. It's my lucky day. And that was the end of it. Stuff like this happened a lot. I was a good guy, but I got in a lot of trouble too. And it happens so many times. I tend to, my memory. But when I heard the Wendy's thing, I started thinking about this guy was intoxicated, fell asleep at a Wendy's drive-thru. They tried to taser him. He ended up with the taser. I assume at that moment the taser has been deployed and it's no longer useful. I'm not sure on that, but so I started thinking about the nightstick I stole, which without a doubt can be a lethal weapon. Choking, hitting, whatever, jabbing, it without a doubt can cause lethal, can take a life. The taser, after it's spent, no, it's not a lethal weapon. This black man was shot and killed. I walked away with no charges, no nothing. Got to drive home. You can draw your own conclusions from this. When we talk about more black people being in prison, if I had been black right there, and I didn't have so many similarities with the sergeant that he just happened to notice, I would have ended up in jail. That would have been a felony. I probably would have gave me resisting arrest after they pounded the hell out of me in that circle. I probably would have spent time in jail. My whole life could be different right now from that one night. And that happened, and that's not the only time this kind of thing happened to me. I'm grateful and I'm remorseful, but that situation happened dozens of times. So when we ask why there's more black people in jail, it's not about more black people committing crime possibly, but there's white people that just get off on it. And I remember I started thinking about that sergeant, and he wasn't a bad guy. He saw similarities between himself and me. And he started thinking about himself as a kid and mistakes he made. And he decided that maybe I'm not such a bad guy after all. What if I had been black? He wouldn't have been able to relate to me. It could have gone a lot worse. Maybe he had a bad incident with a black person in his past. It could have gone a hell of a lot worse. I could have easily ended up dead if I was black. It's a very, did that sergeant at that moment, when he let me go, was he consciously being racist? No. He thought he was giving a good guy, a kid like him, a break. But looking back now, I see how this all relates. The problem is, as time goes forward and more black people go to jail, there's a segment of society that started assuming that these black people bring it on themselves, that somehow they're more nefarious, they're more evil or something. And looking back at that case with me, that's not the case. I should have gone to jail, but I was let off. That was one less white person in jail, one out of thousands, millions. There's a lot of segments and issues with this entire thing that needs to be looked at. I was going to get more into it, but just that incident is 100% true and accurate, what I just told you. And look at what happened at Wendy's. Pretty close to the same thing, except I stole a weapon that was lethal. I was carrying a lethal weapon that I had taken off a police officer. And I got to walk away and go home. No charges, nothing, not a scratch. If I had been black, probably not. I'm pretty sure every officer in that circle was white. I don't know. It's not going to be a simple solution. We have to start looking at our psychology and how we relate to others, really. It's like I said, that sergeant that day, I don't think he was consciously trying to be racist and let off a white guy just because I was white. But it's going to take some work and some thinking, but we can't just blame it on stuff like, black people are killing each other in Chicago, so it's their problem. No, this whole situation is just going to get worse. And when more people like me are getting off in those crimes, I continued on to a life of more crime, more drug use. I committed way more crimes down the road than who knows what would have happened if I had been charged that day. My life might have gone a lot better. It might have gone a lot worse. I don't know. But I was treated differently than if I had been black. Definitely white privilege, without a doubt. So you guys can draw your own conclusions. There's a lot of ways to look at this. All right. Have a good Sunday.